which is what then affects your taxes.
So it's not going to affect it. It's all a circle.
It's a circle. Yeah.
So where are they borrowing the money from?
Very good question. They're borrowing it from themselves. And this is the myth about money. That is very confusing. To imagine borrowing money from yourself, how is that possible? You literally write IOU. So the government is split into two tranches. One side is called fiscal, one side is called monetary. Have you guys heard of this? Okay, so fiscal, so this is how it works. It's almost like Chinese walls. So fiscal is your Theresa May. And then this is called the Bank of England. The Bank of England are basically the bank at the top of the banking chain. What they do, the government says, she talks to, what's the Chancellor?
Philip Hammond. Yeah.
There you go. She talks to Philip Hammond. She said, he tells her, right, the NHS is struggling. They're asking for 4 billion. Social care is breaking down. They need another 2 billion. We need to raise the money. How do we raise the money? They will issue what is called bonds. Bonds, like we said, are IOUs. This is basically a form of credit. It's then going to essentially the other banks, so all the middle banks, and saying, give us money for these bonds and we pay it back in 5, 10 years time, 30 years time.
Just banks as well, us as consumers can actually buy government bonds as well. So the government effectively owes us money. So it's not just the big companies, it's not just the big companies. But we'll discuss that later. We'll tell you how you can get into invest in these things.
Yeah, so bond is actually one of the financial products. So how do they actually borrow from themselves? As Nick said, in the financial crisis, the banks started going broke. So what did they do? The Bank of England had to bail them out. Where does the Bank of England get money from? They're allowed to print money. They've got the printing press. They can print cash. It's not physically printing your pound notes. It works electronically.
Electronic, that's what the myth of credit. It's all electronic.
So it's all electronic. This is what I mean about the flow of money. So they then say, give us, so the banks go to them and say, give us these bonds. We'll take our bonds. But where did the bonds come from? They came from the government.
Sounds like a scam.
Welcome to the Matrix. And this is the financial system broken down for you. That's how it works. We can't do anything about it, but you just have to understand.
Luckily, it was even a little bit more corrupt than it was, because at least now the Bank of England is separate to the government. Separate to the government. Because pre-97, basically it was the Chancellor that set interest rates and borrowings. He done
everything.
He done everything.
He done the whole Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
So the government used to do all this by themselves, but then they said in '97, let's make these guys independent.
Yeah.
Private? Are they private then?
They're publicly owned.
There's more checks and balances.
More checks and balances.
That's correct. Because to be fair, in a nutshell, if they really wanted to, though, they could still just take the Bank of England back. But yeah, they're saying that it's a separate entity to the government now.
So we appreciate this might be mind-blowing to some of you, but this is literally how the financial system works. So the Bank of England prints the money, gives it to the banks in exchange for bonds that the other side of the government had already printed.
So the relationship between Philip Hammond and what's his name?
Mark
Carney is like really important.
Correct. Because they say they are separate, but they still have to have a working relationship.
A very good working relationship.
And a little bit off topic in terms of when inflation's at a certain X amount, which we'll discuss further. Philip Hammond, Mark Carney has to write a letter to Philip Hammond to say why is inflation above the target. So there is a lot of collaboration between the two.
Cool.
So when you say inflation now, you mean the amount of money that's in the system?
No, we'll come back to that. But inflation is just another concept that means the prices of everything that you rely on is rising over time. So your coffee has gone up in price, your biscuits have gone up in price, your clothing has gone up in price.
But is that based on the fact that the value of the pound has gone down rather than the price of
It can be, so that's one of the factors. Please slow us down at any time if you want us to explain anything. So this,
Sorry. Doesn't printing more money affect inflation though?
we'll come back to that as well. It does. Oh, you can go back.
But that's what we talk about in terms of quantitative easing. So this is where they try to stave off inflation by basically the financial system buying them bonds. So to help trying to actually, because if you just print it and going into the public,
Yes,
that's what you get. But what they have, they get the intermediaries, so the banks, the financial institutions, to buy those bonds. So basically, they're giving it to them at a discount to buy. So that's another way to try to keep inflation down.
Cover the inflation there.
Yeah.
Cool. So like we said, the final point on that is money is literally manufactured out for you. That's the system. We didn't make it up. That's how it works.
So the Bank of England, is it basically its own company in a sense?
You can think of it like a
Think of
company.
that as a company.
Yeah, and how often do they change? Like, is it like there's not election for the, you know what I mean?
So they usually serve, like the governor will serve like unlock it,
Terms.
push it.
Okay.
It's like 4-year term. I think
Okay.
maximum of 2.
Maximum 2 terms, correct.
But then there's a subcommittee, almost like a board,
Sorry.
a consent board. Unlock it. Almost like, do you have the key card?
Cool.
Almost like you get a company board, they have a board as well.
And they're voting for us.
And they vote on their rules of what to set. So that's how it works. But money is literally manufactured out of thin air. Technically speaking, you can do this yourself.
Let's go, you can.
On a small scale.
Credit cards and lending, which would.
Because think about it, a bank, when you go to a bank, what's the bank doing? They're just crediting your account.
Yeah.
Where's that money come from?
There.
From other
Literally.
Back in the days, it used to be linked to the gold. So at the Bank of England, they've got a massive vault where they keep gold bullion.
Well,
They sold that now.
they sold it.
So back in the day,
Sold it to China.
the value of your money was fixed to how much gold the government had or how much gold the country had. They scrapped that and just started doing this. So when you go into the bank, I want a loan for 25 grand, personal loan, cool. If you meet the criteria, they'll do it to you, but where's that money come from? Thin air.
Realistically, is it sustainable, this system?
So that is one of the biggest problems, because what did we say at the start of this is that you have to pay back that money. They expect you to, it's based on trust that you pay back that money. If credit keeps growing, but you're not getting paid enough from your salary, this is where the two come into play, then it can become unsustainable.
That's saying that happens in terms of large institutions as well. As I said, even with the credit crisis, when it came to like, I want my money, I'll go to you, everyone was knocking on each other's door, calling for this money, the money's not there. And that's what started up. So saying, I think basically what happens as an individual happens on a large scale with banks and governments. It works, the same principles actually work all the way up and all the way down.
I think this is why it's problematic, because we're increasingly in a globalized situation.
There you go.
Yeah, you go.
So what happens
like
when
the EU and further afield, the knock-on effect, like you're talking about, the ripple effect,
Yeah.
it impacts on other countries. That
Exactly.
So what happens when Bob in US is doing his own thing, and then Jose in Mexico is doing his own thing? Understand? And Lin in China is doing his own thing. Because
So
everyone's
globalized.
connected, we're in a globalized economy now. What happens to one man affects you. And unfortunately, that's the system that we have to play by. So we live in it, but so we have to understand it to make sure that we protect
When
ourselves.
China sneezes, America catches a cold.
Yeah.
It's reflected in the currencies as well. Anyway, you see it in the
In the forex.
forex. Yeah, you see.
Which is another thing we'll come to. Any questions so far?
Let's get some chairs.
Any more shares in
There's one here. There's one chair here. So
This is the cycle that we basically
already
just
said.
discussed.
it's a cycle. So credit, like we said, starts from when you walk into your bank or go to a financial institution to ask for a loan. That could be a mortgage, that could be a credit card, that could be anything that basically means that you're getting money right now that you don't
Like
have.
that you don't have, so by saying you're borrowing against yourself.
So what happens with this is, let's pause it there. So it starts at credit. That credit becomes your spending. So that's what money you then go to, you know, either pay for your education, your tuition, or you're going to buy a car, or you're going to do home improvement.